So that's a very good question. Could patient-specific therapies ever be cost-effective? And fundamentally, that comes down to what's your definition of cost-effective. I like to think of it in terms of lifetime healthcare costs, and that's not a model which exists at the moment, but I think it's a model that's being worked on and will ultimately have to exist. So if we look at one of our examples, which is published and therefore I can share it with you, a young boy at Great Ormond Street who'd been born with a particular congenital problem where his windpipe, his trachea, was a tenth of the diameter it should have been at birth. And for 10 years that was held open by wire baskets, stents. At the age of 10, one of those unwound and caused a fistula with his aorta. He had a major bleed, and it was determined that it was a virtually irreparable lesion, and we were asked if we could make a biocompatible or replacement piece of tracheal tissue that would be his own and therefore not rejected. And so in collaboration with colleagues in Italy, a donor cadaveric trachea was sourced from a road traffic accident victim in Italy, and the next of kin generously agreed for us to have that trachea shipped to London. It was decellularized, so that the donor cells were all stripped out of it in Italy. It was shipped to London. We had some bone marrow from the young boy taken in the operating theatre, and the mesenchymal cells from that bone marrow were grown into the trachea, and it was stitched back into that young boy. He was on intensive care for, I think, nearly 6 months, so massive expense. I think we estimated that the whole process cost close to £500,000. But now he's a perfectly normal, healthy 15-year-old boy playing football, plays the drums in a band, and he was costing between £80,000 and £90,000 a year healthcare costs, and he's now costing nothing apart from outpatient visits. So, and the second patient we treated with the same product, it was half the price because we didn't keep the patient in intensive care for so long. So there are these products that will have very high headroom, if you like. The cost of conventional treatment is so high that even with a massively expensive treatment, and the same is true of some of the gene therapies, the single gene defect therapies like Bluebird Bio are creating a gene therapy for testing already and trialling a gene therapy for beta thalassemia major. Now that's probably going to cost several £100,000, not just for the drug, the gene therapy, but for the process of actually transplanting it into the patient. But those patients cost well over £1 million lifetime cost at the moment. So there will be those cost-effective issues. Others will depend upon what value you put on a cancer patient, for example. So yes, if it costs £100,000 for a patient-specific cell therapy for breast cancer, it comes back to what does that do in terms of qualis? How many quality added life years do you achieve for that? 5 quality added life years would probably cover the cost of the product. So it really is down to some clever health economics over the next few years, and they're going to be very challenging.